Hello and welcome to Bedroom Discoveries. Tonight, and every night, you are invited to rest in the rhythm of curiosity. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere else you need to be. Let your body settle into stillness now. Gently feel the weight of your limbs, the softness of your bed, the quiet hush of the world beyond your walls. Close your eyes. If you haven't already, let the breath fall into a slower rhythm. Not forced, not controlled, just softened. The day can be released now. Its decisions and noise and movement can fade behind you, like footprints left in sand that the tide will wash away. Here, in this quiet space, you will travel not outward but inward, into the hidden places within your own body and brain, into the soft, invisible orchestration that leads you from wakefulness into sleep. You don't have to think too hard, just listen. Let each word carry you gently forward, like a current you can float on. Sleep will come. But first, let's notice the beauty of its arrival. Now we begin. It always begins quietly, not with a command, but with a signal, a subtle shift that moves through your body like a whisper. Long before your head touches the pillow, sleep is preparing you carefully, gently, without your awareness. You may notice it in the way your eyes start to blink more slowly. The world feels dimmer somehow. Not because the lights have changed, but because your mind is no longer as interested in holding everything up. Focus fades. The effort of thinking loses its sharp edge. Your body is signaling the end of its performance for the day. The first yawn often arrives like a soft messenger. It stretches your jaw, draws in air, and tells your brain it's time. But even before that, the sleep process has already begun. Within your brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny bundle of cells deep in the hypothalamus, has been tracking time since you woke. It is your internal clock, tuned by light, regulated by rhythm, and it knows the sun's cycle even if you never look outside. As darkness creeps in, another signal awakens, melatonin, secreted by the pineal gland. Melatonin is your body's way of dimming the stage lights. It does not make you sleep, but it opens the door. It invites drowsiness, softens awareness, and says, let the world slow down now. You don't have to know this. Your cells know it for you. At the same time, your core body temperature begins to drop. Just slightly, just enough. Heat retreats from your center, flowing toward your skin. This cooling is part of what allows your metabolism to relax, your muscles to release, and your brain to enter a slower rhythm. You may reach for a blanket without even thinking. You are becoming a creature of the night, not in the wild sense, but in the way all living things return to stillness. Your breathing shifts, too. It's deeper now, quieter. Your heart no longer beats for action. It begins to sync with the breath, creating a quieter internal landscape. You may feel heavier, not from exhaustion, but from gravity reasserting itself on a body that no longer resists. You are surrendering, molecule by molecule. And this is the quiet miracle of sleep, that you do not have to chase it. You do not force it. Your body carries you toward it with the same confidence that your lungs carry you toward the next breath. The outside world grows dimmer, not just in light, but in meaning. That email, that conversation, that worry about tomorrow, they are still there, but they drift to the edges now like objects slowly sinking underwater. In their place rises sensation, the warmth of a blanket, the gentle creak of your bed, the weight of your hand resting on your chest. These are the anchors of presence, and they pull you inward. Somewhere beneath the surface, your nervous system begins to shift gears. Your sympathetic system, the one that keeps you alert, reacting, ready, steps aside. In its place, the parasympathetic system takes hold. This is the system of restoration, digestion, and calm. It tells your stomach to stop processing stress and return to simple metabolism. It tells your muscles to loosen. It tells your mind you are safe. There is a reason why this phase of the evening feels so mysterious, so delicate. It is because your consciousness is slipping from the analytical into the sensory, from doing into being. Thoughts come more slowly now, like leaves drifting in water. You may try to follow them, but they scatter. The edges of logic blur. Language softens. Even your perception of time begins to stretch. Minutes feel longer, and sometimes you aren't sure if your eyes were closed for a moment or for several. This is not confusion. It is the brain preparing to release its tight hold on linearity. Sleep does not follow time. It flows in cycles, not clocks. You may feel an impulse to resist, to check your phone one last time, to run through one more thought. That is okay. That is the residue of a busy brain. But gently, gently, your biology is already winning. The chemicals have shifted. The light is gone. The day is closing behind you. And in this closing, something beautiful happens. Your sense of self begins to loosen. Not vanish, but dissolve. You are no longer the worker, the parent, the planner, the thinker. You are the sleeper, a role as ancient as life itself. Even plants rest. Even single-celled organisms enter a rhythm of activity and recovery. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a law of life. Every creature returns to it not just to restore energy, but to process existence, to clear waste from the brain, to encode experience into memory, to make sense of a day that moved too fast to understand while it was happening. You are entering this sacred process now. As your body sinks deeper into your bed, you may feel the boundary between body and surface soften. The mattress cradles you, the pillow conforms, the sheets feel heavier, as if gravity has increased, or as if your muscles have given up the need to hold you. Let them go, let everything go. There is nothing more to do tonight. Let the mind idle. Let it flicker like a candle before going out. The world will wait. This moment is yours. Soon you will cross the threshold into the next phase, the light waves of stage 1 sleep, where thoughts become flashes and flashes become images. But not yet. For now, just rest in the knowledge that your body is already taking you there. The first yawn was the beginning of the journey, and now you float in its current. Sleep may feel like drifting off, like slipping out of awareness, but beneath the stillness, your body becomes a gentle symphony of biochemistry. A soft orchestration of messengers begins to play as the sun sets, timed by light, guided by need, and deeply tuned to the rhythm of life. Even as your conscious mind slows, trillions of tiny signals move through you. Hormones, neurotransmitters, enzymes, they do not sleep, they prepare the way. It starts with light, or rather, with its absence. Your eyes, even closed, are attuned to the day's fading. Specialized cells in your retina sense the growing dimness and send a message along the optic nerve, not for sight but for timing. This message reaches the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your body's master clock. The SCN sits above the optic chiasm in the brain, quietly monitoring your exposure to daylight, maintaining your circadian rhythm. As darkness deepens, the SCN instructs the pineal gland to release melatonin. This hormone is often called the sleep hormone, but it's not a tranquilizer. It doesn't knock you out. Instead, it whispers. Melatonin flows into your bloodstream like a soft veil. It begins to dampen the alerting signals in your brain, gently nudging your body toward drowsiness. You don't feel a sudden drop, you feel a subtle readiness to close your eyes. But melatonin is not alone. A cascade follows. The stress hormone cortisol, which peaked earlier in the day to keep you alert and focused, now ebbs away. Its decline is part of the invitation to rest. Your sympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for fight, flight and focus, reduces its activity. In its place, the parasympathetic system increases its influence, slowing your heart rate, deepening your breath, and calming your digestion. Meanwhile, adenosine, a molecule that quietly accumulates in your brain throughout the day, is at its highest level. This compound is a natural sleep pressure. The more you are awake, the more it builds. As it binds to receptors in your brain, it reduces neural activity, making you feel heavier, foggier, slower. It's your brain's way of reminding you that rest is not optional, it's necessary. Caffeine, by the way, works by blocking those adenosine receptors. But tonight, there is no caffeine, no stimulation, only the rising tide of molecules urging you toward the shore of sleep. Elsewhere in your body, other hormones begin to respond to the shift. Growth hormone, which sounds like something reserved for childhood, prepares to be released in higher amounts. Its role isn't just about getting taller in adults, it helps with tissue repair, cell regeneration, and metabolic balance. Most of this hormone is secreted during deep sleep, especially in the first few hours of the night. Prolactin increases too. Another sleep-related hormone involved in immune function and metabolism, leptin, the hormone that tells you you're full, rises, while ghrelin, the hunger hormone, falls. Your body is not just resting, it's recalibrating. Even insulin sensitivity changes. While you sleep, your body becomes more efficient at storing and using energy, managing blood sugar, and repairing cellular wear from the day's activity. Your organs aren't idle, they are recalibrating. In your brain, neurotransmitters begin their subtle transitions. Serotonin, often associated with mood and well-being, plays a complicated role. It helps regulate sleep cycles and body temperature and serves as a precursor to melatonin. The balance of serotonin is delicate, not too high, not too low, just enough to keep your brain's pathways in a state of restfulness. GABA, a calming neurotransmitter, increases. It slows activity in the central nervous system, reducing excitability and preparing neurons to fire less frequently. GABA acts like a soft brake pedal. You're not stopping abruptly, you're coasting gently to stillness. As all of this unfolds, you remain unaware. You are perhaps already lying in bed, perhaps eyes closed, perhaps drifting, but this biological ballet is still underway, unseen and unfelt. It's easy to think of sleep as unconsciousness, but sleep is highly active. You are not less alive, you are simply tuned to a different frequency. And chemistry is the conductor. These molecules do not care about your schedule. They are not controlled by your to-do list. If you ignore their rhythm, if you fight sleep night after night, they will begin to falter. That's why chronic sleep deprivation can disrupt metabolism, weaken immunity, and dull cognition. Sleep is not just rest, it's regulation. It's balance, it's biochemical harmony. And when you do listen, when you let your body follow its natural rhythm, these molecules do their work with quiet grace. They do not need you to understand them, only to trust them. As your limbs grow heavier and your breathing deepens, these invisible messengers continue their work. Each cell, each hormone, each molecule has a place in the night's unfolding. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted. You are not switching off. You are entering a phase of intelligent repair, guided by the oldest rhythms of biology. From the first fish that slept in ancient oceans to the quiet pulse of life inside your chest now, the chemistry of rest has never changed its mission: keep you alive and keep you whole. As sleep deepens, the chemicals shift again, preparing for the cycles to come, the dreams ahead, the restoration your body will soon enter fully. But for now, you rest at the edge of this chemical sea, floating, held. As day slips behind you, another gentle transformation takes place. Not in thought, not in dreams, but in the temperature of your body. This isn't something you decide. You don't command your internal thermostat to adjust. Yet every evening, like clockwork, your body begins to cool. This drop in temperature is one of the most reliable biological markers that sleep is near. In the hours before you drift off, your core body temperature begins to decline by 1 or 2 degrees Fahrenheit, not dramatically, but consistently, and that slight drop makes all the difference. The shift is subtle, but you might notice it in your limbs first. Maybe you reach for a sweater or tuck your feet under the blanket without realizing why. Perhaps you feel a little chilly, even if the room hasn't changed. This isn't a coincidence. Your body is preparing for rest by lowering its internal heat and redistributing warmth toward the skin, particularly the hands and feet. The blood vessels near the surface dilate, allowing heat to escape. Why does your body cool to sleep? Because the cooling allows the brain to shift into slower waves. The reduced temperature supports melatonin production, decreases arousal in the nervous system, and allows certain phases of sleep, especially deep sleep, to unfold more easily. The cooler you are within your natural rhythm, the easier it is for your brain to let go of wakefulness. You may think of sleep as a mental state, but it is just as much a physical one, and temperature is part of its foundation. Even your muscles respond to this change. They relax. The tension you carried all day in your shoulders, in your jaw, in your hands, begins to soften as your body becomes less metabolically active. Energy is conserved. The tight grip of posture and alertness fades. You melt into stillness. Outside your window, darkness grows. This isn't just absence of light, it's presence of shadow. It's a cue that your brain has evolved to follow for thousands of years. Long before artificial lighting, darkness meant safety. It meant retreat. And your eyes, even closed, continue to detect and interpret this absence. And all the while, the environment responds too. Darkness is not just a visual absence. It is a signal. It speaks to the pineal gland, encouraging melatonin to flow more freely. It signals the retinas to reduce stimulation. It tells your inner rhythm that it's okay now. The time for vigilance is over. Inside your brain, your hypothalamus responds to these changes. It's your body's command center for temperature, sleep, and hormone regulation. It listens to external cues, light, warmth, food timing, and adjusts accordingly. Your body is not passive in sleep. It is carefully managed. Every step into rest is deliberate, ancient, and deeply biological. But here, in your calm space, the lights are low, screens are off, darkness has been allowed to rise, and as it does, the chemical and thermal currents in your body align more closely with the environment. You are in sync, not with a clock on the wall, but with something older, with the Earth's own cycle of light and dark. That's why light exposure at night can disrupt sleep so deeply. Even a soft glow from a screen or a bedside lamp can mute melatonin, confuse the circadian rhythm, and delay the natural cool-down process. Your brain thinks light means day. It waits. It resists the descent into rest. Think of a forest at nightfall. The sun sinks, the air cools, and everything seems to exhale. Insects hum more softly. Leaves are still. Animals nestle into burrows or rest in branches. The world is not asleep. It is recalibrated. It is suspended in stillness, waiting for the night to do its quiet work. This slowing, this cooling, is not a shutting down. It is a settling in. Somewhere in this process you become aware that your eyelids are heavier, that your limbs have found a comfortable position and are no longer interested in movement. Your breath is slower now, not because you've made it so, but because your autonomic nervous system has decided it is time. Even dreams, which may seem weightless and free, are influenced by your body's temperature. A room that's too warm can lead to restless sleep, fragmented dreams, and difficulty entering REM. A space that's too cold can cause your body to tense, shiver, or wake prematurely. There's a reason sleep researchers recommend a bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body knows what it needs. In sleep, your body's core temperature will continue to fall slightly, reaching its lowest point in the middle of the night. This is when deep sleep is most likely, when tissue repair is strongest, when immune function is most active. This is not coincidence. Your body uses the cool of night to perform some of its most important maintenance. Your body is a forest too, and the drop in temperature is your sunset. It is your permission to stop holding everything up, to become heavy, to return to the simplicity of breath and bone and softness. And so you lie there, feeling the air around your skin. You feel the contrast, the warmth of your blanket, the coolness of the room, the steady drop of your inner heat. It is like sinking into water, not submerged but buoyed, supported by the temperature shift itself. But more important than the number is the transition, the grace of cooling, the message it sends that the day is done, that the brain can drift, that your cells can soften, that healing can begin. In this state, you are most vulnerable. You are motionless, unconscious, quiet, and yet, paradoxically, you are also most protected, because your body is doing what it was always meant to do: regulate, adjust, prepare, repair. As day slips behind you, another gentle transformation takes place, not in thought, not in dreams, but in the temperature of your body. This isn't something you decide. You don't command your internal thermostat to adjust. Yet every evening, like clockwork, your body begins to cool. This drop in temperature is one of the most reliable biological markers that sleep is near. In the hours before you drift off, your core body temperature begins to decline by 1 or 2 degrees Fahrenheit, not dramatically, but consistently, and that slight drop makes all the difference. The shift is subtle, but you might notice it in your limbs first. Maybe you reach for a sweater or tuck your feet under the blanket without realizing why. Perhaps you feel a little chilly, even if the room hasn't changed. This isn't a coincidence. Your body is preparing for rest by lowering its internal heat and redistributing warmth toward the skin, particularly the hands and feet. The blood vessels near the surface dilate, allowing heat to escape. You may think of sleep as a mental state, but it is just as much a physical one, and temperature is part of its foundation. Why does your body cool to sleep? Because the cooling allows the brain to shift into slower waves. The reduced temperature supports melatonin production. decreases arousal in the nervous system, and allows certain phases of sleep, especially deep sleep, to unfold more easily. The cooler you are within your natural rhythm, the easier it is for your brain to let go of wakefulness. Even your muscles respond to this change. They relax. The tension you carried all day in your shoulders, in your jaw, in your hands, begins to soften as your body becomes less metabolically active. Energy is conserved. The tight grip of posture and alertness fades. You melt into stillness. And all the while, the environment responds too. Outside your window, darkness grows. This isn't just absence of light, it's presence of shadow. It's a cue that your brain has evolved to follow for thousands of years. Long before artificial lighting, darkness meant safety. It meant retreat. And your eyes, even closed, continue to detect and interpret this absence. Darkness is not just a visual absence, it is a signal. It speaks to the pineal gland, encouraging melatonin to flow more freely. It signals the retinas to reduce stimulation. It tells your inner rhythm that it's okay now. The time for vigilance is over. That's why light exposure at night can disrupt sleep so deeply. Even a soft glow from a screen or a bedside lamp can mute melatonin, confuse the circadian rhythm, and delay the natural cool-down process. Your brain thinks light means day. It waits. It resists the descent into rest. But here, in your calm space, the lights are low, screens are off, darkness has been allowed to rise, and as it does, the chemical and thermal currents in your body align more closely with the environment. You are in sync, not with a clock on the wall, but with something older, with the Earth's own cycle of light and dark. Inside your brain, your hypothalamus responds to these changes. It's your body's command center for temperature, sleep, and hormone regulation. It listens to external cues, light, warmth, food timing, and adjusts accordingly. Your body is not passive in sleep, it is carefully managed. Every step into rest is deliberate, ancient, and deeply biological. Somewhere in this process you become aware that your eyelids are heavier, that your limbs have found a comfortable position and are no longer interested in movement. Your breath is slower now, not because you've made it so, but because your autonomic nervous system has decided it is time. This slowing, this cooling, is not a shutting down, it is a settling in. Think of a forest at nightfall. The sun sinks, the air cools, and everything seems to exhale. Insects hum more softly. Leaves are still. Animals nestle into burrows or rest in branches. The world is not asleep. It is recalibrated. It is suspended in stillness, waiting for the night to do its quiet work. Your body is a forest too, and the drop in temperature is your sunset. It is your permission to stop holding everything up, to become heavy, to return to the simplicity of breath and bone and softness. In sleep, your body's core temperature will continue to fall slightly, reaching its lowest point in the middle of the night. This is when deep sleep is most likely, when tissue repair is strongest, when immune function is most active. This is not coincidence. Your body uses the cool of night to perform some of its most important maintenance. Even dreams, which may seem weightless and free, are influenced by your body's temperature. A room that's too warm can lead to restless sleep, fragmented dreams, and difficulty entering REM. A space that's too cold can cause your body to tense, shiver, or wake prematurely. There's a reason sleep researchers recommend a bedroom temperature between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body knows what it needs. But more important than the number is the transition, the grace of cooling, the message it sends that the day is done, that the brain can drift, that your cells can soften, that healing can begin. And so you lie there, feeling the air around your skin. You feel the contrast, the warmth of your blanket, the coolness of the room, the steady drop of your inner heat. It is like sinking into water, not submerged but buoyed, supported by the temperature shift itself. In this state, you are most vulnerable. You are motionless, unconscious, quiet, and yet, paradoxically, you are also most protected, because your body is doing what it was always meant to do: regulate, adjust, prepare, repair. The darkness deepens now, not just in the room but in your mind. Thoughts become more abstract, more symbolic. The boundaries between idea and image blur. Temperature and thought, light and emotion, they're all connected in this process. You are entering not just a new stage of awareness, but a new state of being. And all of this is orchestrated not by effort, but by surrender. There is no switch to flip, no code to input, just biology, following its ancient course, a fall in degrees, a fall into dreams. Let the darkness rise, let the temperature fall. You are exactly where you're meant to be. There's a moment you may not even notice when wakefulness ends and sleep begins. It's not like stepping through a door, but more like descending into water. Your thoughts become less like language and more like shape, more like colour, more like the strange logic of dreams before dreams have even fully formed. You are no longer planning, remembering, calculating. You are drifting. This transition into the first stages of sleep is known as N1 or Stage 1 sleep. It is the shallowest phase, lasting only a few minutes, but it's where your descent begins. Your brain waves slow down. They shift from beta waves, those fast, alert patterns of daytime focus, into alpha and then into theta. These theta waves move more slowly, like a stream beginning to freeze in the evening chill. They carry you downward, away from the noise of the day. Your muscles may twitch in this stage, a quick involuntary jerk, perhaps your legs move or your arm. This is called a hypnic jerk, and it's more common than you might think. Some scientists believe it's an evolutionary reflex, a final check to see if you're falling from a branch, or a signal that your muscles are finally releasing control. You might feel like you're falling, but it's just your nervous system stepping down its duties, one signal at a time. You might also experience fleeting images, shapes, colours, or even short narrative scenes that flicker and vanish. These are called hypnagogic hallucinations. They aren't dreams, not quite. They are your brain loosening its grip on external input, beginning to generate from within. The external world begins to fade as internal worlds quietly awaken. Your breathing becomes shallower, your heartbeat slows, and slowly your consciousness becomes less aware that it is separating from itself. You are still you, but now you are weightless. From stage 1, you ease into stage 2, or N2 sleep, a slightly deeper phase where the descent continues. This is the phase in which you'll spend most of your night, returning to it between deeper stages. Your brain activity continues to slow, but it's not silent. In fact, during N2, something remarkable begins to happen. Short bursts of activity, known as sleep spindles, ripple across your brain. These spindles look like tiny flurries of electrical snow on an EEG. Brief, intense pulses of oscillating waves. Scientists believe they are crucial for memory consolidation and for protecting the brain from waking too easily. In other words, sleep spindles act like a soft shield, filtering out noise, guarding your descent from the surface world. In the background, K-complexes appear, large waves that arise in response to internal or external stimuli, a sound in the night, a shift in your heartbeat. These might spark a K-complex. It's your brain's way of checking in. Is this important enough to wake for? Usually the answer is no. You remain undisturbed. The descent continues. Your temperature continues to drop. Your muscles grow heavier, more still, and now your brainwaves settle more deeply into the theta range. Your thoughts, if they remain at all, are slower, simpler, quieter. Sometimes you won't remember this phase. That's okay. The brain does not record every step on the path into sleep. It simply carries you down gently. You might roll over, you might sigh, but by now you are no longer tethered to the world of waking concerns. The descent has begun in full. What lies ahead is deeper still. You have crossed the threshold. Now your brain enters its most restorative phase, slow wave sleep, also called N3, or deep sleep. This is where your mind no longer hovers near the surface. It dives. The waves in your brain are now slow and broad, delta waves pulsing in long rhythmic arcs. These waves are fewer in number, but greater in amplitude. It is as if your mind is exhaling in large, spacious breaths. During deep sleep, your body performs its most important maintenance work. Cells rebuild, tissues repair, the immune system recharges, human growth hormone, vital for healing and metabolic function, is secreted in larger quantities. If you are recovering from illness, injury, or even emotional strain, deep sleep is when your body begins to knit itself back together. Your muscles are at their most relaxed. There is almost no movement. Your eyes no longer dart beneath the lids, in fact they are still. Your heart rate is slow, steady. Your blood pressure drops. Everything quiets. You are at your most physically vulnerable in this state, and yet also at your most protected. Your body has systems in place to prevent you from waking too easily. Loud noises or sudden movements may still reach your ears, but your brain is less likely to respond. It is focused inward. It is devoted to healing. And deep within your brain, the glymphatic system awakens. This is your brain's cleaning crew, a system that flushes out metabolic waste, excess proteins and debris that accumulated while you were awake. It's like a slow tide moving through the neural canals, clearing space, making room for clarity in the morning. Without deep sleep, you feel foggy, irritable, even anxious. Sleep researchers have found that missing this phase can impair memory, reduce attention, and increase emotional sensitivity. But when you receive it, when your body dips fully into the delta rhythm, the effects are quietly profound. You don't dream here, at least not the vivid, story-like dreams of REM. Instead, this phase is more like night itself. Vast, dark, unshaped. It is a necessary pause in consciousness. A kind of disappearance, not into oblivion, but into renewal. Children spend more time in deep sleep than adults, and the amount of deep sleep you experience declines with age. But regardless of your years, your body still seeks it. It is not optional. It is essential. It is the great reset. You may spend anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes in this stage per cycle. And then, as if surfacing from a long swim, your brain begins to rise again. Slowly, gently, it drifts upward, passing once more through lighter sleep. Stage 2, preparing for something new. The deepest part of the night is past, but the most vivid part is just ahead. As your brain floats upward from deep sleep, it enters a new world. REM sleep, rapid eye movement. This is the stage most people associate with dreaming, and for good reason. This is where your inner theatre comes to life. Your eyes, still closed, begin to move rapidly beneath your lids, not because you're watching something in the outside world, but because you're watching from within. You are not fully conscious. You are not awake. But your brain becomes in some ways even more active than it is during the day. REM is paradoxical. Your brain's activity rises to levels similar to wakefulness, yet your body becomes paralyzed. This temporary paralysis, known as atonia, is nature's safeguard. It prevents you from acting out your dreams. Your muscles are silenced. You are a mind floating in place. In REM, your dreams take on narrative structure. You may see people, places, situations that make no logical sense and yet feel entirely real. These dreams are not random. They are your brain's way of processing emotion, integrating memory, and reshuffling your psychological deck. The amygdala, the brain's emotional center, becomes highly active. So does the hippocampus, which helps consolidate memories. The prefrontal cortex, however, the part responsible for logic and self-restraint, is quieter. That's why dreams can be strange, unfiltered, surreal. It's not that your brain is broken, it's that your brain is dreaming on purpose. Scientists believe REM sleep helps you process emotional events, solve problems, and even rehearse potential futures. It's your brain's night shift, sorting, integrating, preparing, and it does all this while you remain unaware, wrapped in quiet stillness. REM sleep tends to come in longer bursts as the night progresses. In the early hours, it may last only a few minutes. By morning, a REM cycle can stretch to 45 minutes. You cycle through stages, light sleep, deep sleep, REM about every 90 minutes, completing 4 to 6 cycles each night. Your breathing becomes irregular during REM. Your heart rate may increase slightly. You may even experience small fluctuations in body temperature, all while your muscles remain still and your dreams unfold behind closed eyes. You are not passive in sleep. You are traveling, rebuilding, feeling, releasing, and when REM ends, the cycle begins again. You do not need to guide it. Your body knows the way. This quiet act of remembering happens mostly without your awareness. You are asleep, after all. But inside your skull, your hippocampus, a curved structure deep within the brain, is actively engaged. During the day, the hippocampus is like a sponge, soaking in experiences. It holds short-term memories, keeping them close, like items on a desk. Sleep is not forgetting. In fact, it is the opposite. As you rest, your brain works quietly to sift through the moments of your day, the names, the places, the conversations, the feelings, sorting them gently, deciding what to keep, what to strengthen, what to let go. But sleep is when those items get filed away. It is during deep sleep, particularly during slow-wave sleep, that the hippocampus begins to replay the day's events. It sends signals to the cortex, the outer layer of the brain, which begins to store these memories in more permanent locations. The process is called memory consolidation, and it is one of the most important functions of sleep. And this process repeats each night. You may not realize it, but every time you sleep, your brain is becoming more organized. What you practiced becomes more fluent. What you studied becomes more clear. Even emotionally difficult experiences may lose some of their sting, softened by the balm of rest. REM sleep plays a role too. While deep sleep seems more involved in organizing facts and skills, REM is involved in processing emotional memories. Have you ever gone to bed feeling raw or overwhelmed, only to wake with a sense of perspective or calm? That's REM at work. It allows the brain to revisit emotional content, but without the flooding of stress hormones that occur during wakefulness. Imagine the hippocampus as a librarian working overnight, taking notes from the day and deciding where to shelve each memory. The process isn't random. Emotional memories may be stored differently than factual ones. Skills like riding a bike or playing a piano may be stored in motor regions. Meanwhile, names and vocabulary may settle into language centers. Each type of memory finds its proper home. Sleep also helps with creative problem solving. That's why artists, writers, scientists, and thinkers throughout history have credited dreams or post-sleep clarity with breakthroughs. Sleep allows the brain to make distant connections. While you rest, ideas from one part of your mind quietly mingle with others. Patterns emerge that weren't visible before. This allows you to re-experience feelings, but in a safer, less reactive way. You dream about a difficult moment, but not always in literal form. It may come disguised as a different setting, or with different characters, but the emotion is the same. Your brain is trying to integrate the feeling, to make peace with it. Children need more sleep than adults, partly because their brains are soaking in so much new information. But no matter your age, the role of memory in sleep never fades. You are never too old to benefit from what your brain does in the dark. So as you lie here tonight, remember, your brain is not idle. It is curating, filing, strengthening, softening. You don't have to force this process. You simply have to rest and let your mind, like moonlight, shine quietly on all you've lived. Dreams are strange. They don't follow the rules. People become places. Places float away. Stories shift. Logic bends. And yet, when you're in the middle of one, it all makes perfect sense. What exactly is a dream? It's a story made by your brain using fragments of memory, feeling, imagination, and pure invention. Most dreams occur during REM sleep, though lighter stages may produce dreamlike experiences too. But REM is where the vivid, emotional, often surreal narratives unfold. Scientists don't fully understand why we dream, but several theories exist, and they aren't mutually exclusive. One suggests dreams help with emotional regulation. In the safe space of sleep, the brain replays emotional material, exploring it from new angles. Another theory is that dreams help with memory integration, blending new information with old frameworks. Others believe dreams are simply a byproduct of neural activity, the brain firing without input, producing random imagery. But randomness doesn't explain everything. Research has shown that dreams often contain elements of our waking life, things we saw, heard, or felt, sometimes days earlier. This is called the dream lag effect. It's as though the brain takes time to stew on certain experiences before dreaming about them. Dreams also allow for simulation. You may dream of speaking on stage, fleeing danger, or having deep conversations. These imagined scenarios may help you rehearse reactions, prepare for challenges, or process uncertainty. Your brain is a powerful simulator, and dreams are its sandbox. The amygdala is especially active during REM, which explains the emotional intensity of many dreams. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, which governs logic and impulse control, is quieter. That's why dreams can feel bizarre but still feel real. You don't question the oddities, your dream self simply accepts them. Despite their fluid logic, Dreams often carry meaning, not necessarily in the symbolic sense of traditional dream dictionaries, but in emotional tone. A dream may not predict the future or reveal a secret, but it often reflects your inner landscape. The feelings in dreams, fear, joy, confusion, longing, are real, even if the details are not. And there is something deeply human about dreaming. All mammals appear to dream. Even some birds do. Watch a sleeping dog twitch its paws or make soft sounds. It is likely in REM, perhaps dreaming of fields, scents, or familiar voices. Dreams connect us to our past. They explore our hopes. They revisit our griefs. Sometimes they simply entertain. A cast of characters drawn from memory and imagination takes the stage, performing for an audience of one. Most dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking, but that doesn't make them unimportant. Like whispers to the self, they speak and fade, shaping your feelings in subtle, lasting ways. You don't need to analyze every dream. You don't need to make sense of them all. But honoring their presence, even just noticing that they happened, can connect you more deeply to yourself. Each night as REM cycles return again and again, so do dreams. They are part of the rhythm of sleep, part of the dialogue between you and your inner world. And now, as you drift back into stillness, know that your dreaming mind is listening. It is ready to speak, to imagine, to wander. Sleep is often thought of as the mind's domain where thoughts fade, dreams unfold, and consciousness dips beneath the surface. But sleep is also deeply embodied. Your physical form is not idle during the night. It is active in ways you may never feel but always benefit from. First, consider your immune system. During sleep, it becomes more active, producing cytokines, small proteins that help regulate immunity, inflammation, and cell signaling. Sleep is when your body strengthens its defense systems. That's why you're more likely to get sick when sleep deprived, and why you heal faster when you rest. Sleep also influences metabolism. Hormones like leptin and ghrelin, which govern hunger and satiety, are regulated overnight. When sleep is disrupted, these hormones can become unbalanced, leading to increased appetite and difficulty maintaining energy balance. Your body needs sleep to understand when it's truly hungry and when it's full. The cardiovascular system slows and recovers during deep sleep. Heart rate and blood pressure drop, allowing the heart to rest. Long-term sleep deprivation is linked to increased risk of hypertension and heart disease, but restful sleep gives your heart the pause it needs. Muscles may be still during sleep, but they too undergo repair. Tiny tears in muscle fibers caused by everyday activity or exercise are mended in the night. Protein synthesis increases. Tissue growth accelerates. Even bones undergo microscopic maintenance. Sleep also affects your skin. Collagen production rises. Blood flow to the skin increases. This is part of why consistent quality sleep is linked to better skin tone and resilience. And perhaps most remarkable is how the sleeping body coordinates all these processes without your awareness. You do not need to instruct your cells to repair. You do not tell your immune system to activate. You simply rest and your body speaks in quiet, intelligent ways. Each breath you take during sleep is part of this system. Breathing slows and deepens, providing a steady rhythm of oxygen. Blood circulates gently, carrying nutrients and hormones to where they are needed most. Your body listens to the signals of the day, stress, nourishment, motion, stillness, and responds during the night. It knows what needs restoring. It knows what needs to pause. So while your mind may be dreaming, your body is working, quietly, kindly, always in service to your wholeness. This is the intelligence of rest, the silent speech of the body, a conversation in molecules and movement. And now, as you return to the rhythm of your own breath, feel that intelligence at work. Feel your body speaking, softly and wisely, even as you sleep. As evening falls, your body begins to whisper the invitation to sleep. The light fades, and in the shadows of your brain, a small gland begins its nightly work. This gland, the pineal gland, shaped like a tiny pine cone, nestled deep between the two hemispheres of your brain, begins to release a chemical messenger that changes everything. That messenger is melatonin. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, but it's more accurate to think of it as a gentle guide, not forcing you to sleep, but preparing your body for it. It is your internal sunset, dimming the brightness of your internal rhythms, and cueing the systems of your body that night has arrived. Melatonin doesn't make you fall asleep directly. Instead, it lowers your alertness and raises your readiness. It is the soft music that plays before the show begins. The production of melatonin is regulated by light, more specifically by the presence or absence of blue light, the kind of light most common in daylight. Your eyes contain specialized photoreceptors that don't help you see images, but instead send signals directly to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's master clock. When these receptors detect light, especially blue light, they send a signal to the pineal gland to hold off on melatonin. But as light fades, the suppression lifts. Melatonin begins to flow into your bloodstream, a gentle chemical tide. About 2 hours before your usual bedtime, melatonin levels start to rise. You may not notice it consciously, but your body does. You might begin to feel a slight heaviness behind your eyes, a calmness in your limbs, a quiet urging to retreat from stimulation. It's not fatigue exactly, it's more like your body lowering the volume on the world. Melatonin's rise is a cue for other systems to begin their nighttime rituals. Your core body temperature begins to drop, a signal that encourages sleep. Your digestive system slows, your heart rate steadies. Even your thoughts, if you listen closely, may start to stretch and soften, no longer sharp and focused, but wandering and drowsy. For people who travel across time zones or work night shifts, melatonin often becomes unmoored from its usual rhythm. Light exposure at unusual times can disrupt the pineal gland's cycle, making it harder to fall asleep when desired. This is why jet lag feels so disorienting. Your body's chemistry is telling a different time than the world around you. Some people take melatonin supplements to help realign their rhythms. In small doses and short-term use, melatonin can be helpful, especially for shifting sleep schedules. But natural melatonin released in harmony with the sun and darkness remains the most effective and gentle sleep cue. Its presence doesn't knock you out. It simply says, now is the time. What's remarkable is how responsive melatonin is to your environment. Bright screens late at night, phones, tablets, televisions can delay its release. Even bedside lamps with cool-toned bulbs can interfere, but just as easily dimming the lights in the evening, spending time in natural sunlight during the day, and maintaining a regular sleep schedule can support melatonin's rhythm. There's a quiet poetry to melatonin's work. Unlike adrenaline or cortisol, which spike in times of urgency, melatonin flows during surrender. It's not there to push, but to allow. It supports the transition from alertness to ease, from wakefulness to wonder. So tonight, as darkness gently settles around you, know that this silent messenger is already at work. It flows quietly through your bloodstream, nudging every cell to rest. Your body listens, your breath deepens, your eyelids grow heavy, and without fanfare, the doorway to sleep opens. Inside nearly every cell in your body, a tiny clock is ticking. It's not a mechanical clock, nor one that chimes on the hour, but it is precise, it is biological, and it runs on a cycle of about 24 hours, a circadian rhythm. These rhythms are not just about sleep. They govern nearly every aspect of your biology: hormone release, digestion, temperature, immune response, even mood. You are, in every sense, a creature of time. At the heart of this timekeeping system is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN, a cluster of about 20,000 neurons in the hypothalamus. This is the master clock. It receives light signals from your eyes, tracks the time of day, and synchronizes your internal clocks accordingly. When morning light hits your eyes, the SCN sends signals that raise body temperature, boost cortisol, and suppress melatonin, all helping you wake. At night, it sends the opposite instructions: cool down, slow down, dim the lights inside. But this master clock doesn't work alone. Throughout your body, in your liver, your heart, your skin, are peripheral clocks. These follow the master clock's lead, but also respond to other cues like food intake, physical activity, and social patterns. If you eat at irregular hours or keep inconsistent sleep schedules, your peripheral clocks can fall out of sync, a condition known as circadian misalignment. When your clocks are in harmony, everything feels smoother. You wake easily, sleep deeply, digest efficiently, think clearly, but when they fall out of sync, say from late night screen time, skipped meals, or overnight work, your body feels confused. Fatigue, mood swings, weight gain, and metabolic issues can follow. Interestingly, Your circadian rhythm is not exactly 24 hours. For most people, it runs a little longer, about 24.2 hours. This is why, in the absence of external cues, like in complete darkness, people tend to drift later and later each day. Light is what keeps us aligned with the world. This internal clock is shaped early in life, but it continues to adjust. Teenagers, for example, experience a natural shift in circadian rhythm that makes them want to stay up late and sleep in, a rhythm mismatch with school schedules that often leaves them chronically sleep-deprived. Older adults, by contrast, tend to shift earlier, feeling sleepy sooner in the evening and waking earlier in the morning. You also have personal variations, known as chronotypes. Some people are naturally morning-oriented, larks, while others are evening-oriented, owls. Neither is better or worse, but understanding your chronotype can help you align your schedule with your biology. The body clock also affects mental health. People with disrupted circadian rhythms are more likely to experience depression and anxiety, and restoring rhythm through consistent sleep, light exposure and timing of meals has been shown to improve mood. Nature follows rhythm, tides rise and fall, flowers open and close, animals migrate and hibernate, and you too are rhythmic. Sleep is not just about tiredness, it is about timing. The clock within you is always ticking, always keeping time with the sun and stars. Tonight, as you close your eyes, know that your rhythms are aligning. Your clocks are whispering to one another, preparing your body for the quiet work of rest. There is no need to rush. Everything is unfolding on time. You might think of sleep as something separate from your day, a pause, a break, a gap, but sleep is not the opposite of waking. It is part of a rhythm that speaks in cycles, in chemistry, in light and dark. Every part of your day is a message to your circadian system. When you eat, move, focus, or relax, you're sending signals to your internal clocks. The rhythm of your body listens, adjusts, calibrates. These are the circadian conversations, the constant dialogue between your behaviors and your biology. In the morning, sunlight signals your brain to produce cortisol, not the stress hormone in its harmful form, but the version that wakes you up, energizes you, helps you feel alert. Your temperature begins to rise, your blood pressure increases slightly, digestion restarts, the day has begun. Mid-morning is often your cognitive peak, a time when focus and memory are strongest. Your body is still warming up, but your mind is bright. As noon approaches, your digestion peaks too. Eating a balanced lunch at roughly the same time each day reinforces your peripheral clocks, especially those in the liver and gut. In the afternoon, many people experience a natural dip in alertness. This is not failure, it's rhythm. Your body cools slightly, and melatonin may begin to stir, especially in dim environments. A short nap or brief walk can help reset, but it's also okay to honour the lull. Rhythm includes rest. As evening nears, your body begins preparing again for sleep. Your core temperature drops, melatonin levels rise, digestion slows, you become less sensitive to pain, less reactive to stress. The world dims, and so do you. Circadian health is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Your body loves pattern. Going to bed and waking at the same time, even on weekends, reinforces the timing of all your internal systems. So does eating at regular intervals, getting sunlight in the morning, and minimizing blue light at night. When you honor these rhythms, your body speaks more clearly. You feel hungrier at mealtimes. You fall asleep more easily. Your mood stabilizes. You're less likely to feel out of sync because, quite simply, you aren't. And when life throws your rhythms off, as it sometimes does with travel, illness, or stress, your body doesn't punish you. It adjusts. It's flexible. It listens. Circadian conversations are ongoing. You are always in dialogue with time. So as night deepens around you and the world begins its quiet turning once again, remember you are not separate from nature, you are rhythm, you are cycle, you are a part of the great conversation of light and dark. Sleep is not the end of your day, it is the continuation of your rhythm, and tonight it speaks gently, just for you. Dreams don't wait until the world is silent. They begin as whispers, tiny fragments gathering in the corners of your mind long before your body fully lets go. As your consciousness begins its nightly descent, your brain doesn't simply shut down, Instead, it lights up in new and wondrous ways. This is where dreams begin. You start to drift, your thoughts loosening like threads in a tapestry, slowly unraveling from the neat stitching of the day. Your mind is no longer locked into time or reason. Familiar boundaries begin to dissolve. As you pass through light sleep and descend toward deeper rest, your brain's electrical activity shifts. It slows, becoming more synchronized. But in the cycles that follow, particularly during REM sleep, the dreaming mind awakens. Your dreams are shaped in part by your memories, but not just the facts and events of the day. Emotional echoes, unfinished thoughts, forgotten feelings, all become clay in the hands of the dreaming brain. The hippocampus, your memory's librarian, and the amygdala, your emotional compass, both become active during REM. Together they extract material that matters to you, even if you haven't noticed it in waking life. Dreams begin to form as images and sensations. They aren't planned, they rise organically, built from the strange mix of memory, emotion, and imagination. Some dreams begin with a face, others with a place. Some begin in silence, others with sound. They shift and swirl, painting entire worlds in moments. Unlike the orderly brain during the day, the dreaming brain plays without rules. The prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logic and self-control, is quiet during REM. This gives dreams their fluidity. You accept their strangeness because the part of you that would question or criticize is gently asleep. In this liminal world, people merge. Time bends, language transforms, and yet meaning flows through it all. Even when the details are surreal, the emotional logic of a dream often makes perfect sense. You feel the fear, the joy, the loss, the longing, more vividly than you often do when awake. Sometimes dreams echo the events of your day. This is known as the day residue effect, where bits of conversation, images, or feelings from waking life appear in dreams. But dreams don't merely replay the day, they remix it. They draw from the recent and the distant, blending past and present into a new experience. There is also the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, where part of you becomes aware that you are dreaming, even as the dream unfolds. Some people train themselves to enter and navigate lucid dreams, using them as a kind of inner exploration. But most dreams remain unobserved, lived fully in the moment without self-awareness. The very act of dreaming is a kind of mental rehearsal. You move through scenarios, you test emotions, you process change. This function likely evolved as a way to simulate danger or practice social situations in a safe environment. Even animals dream. Studies on cats, dogs, and even rats have shown REM-like brain activity and behavior during sleep, evidence that they too dream in their own ways. Dreams are universal. They belong to no single culture, no single age. They are a shared experience, connecting all of us in sleep's silent theatre. And while their meanings may be elusive, their presence is constant. Every night you are given another story. You may not always remember your dreams, and that's okay. Dream recall varies from person to person and even from night to night. But whether or not you wake with the memory, your dreams have done their work. They've stirred the waters of your mind, helping you process, release, imagine, and prepare. So tonight, as your breath deepens and your body grows still, know that the dreaming has already begun. Quietly, gently, just beneath the surface. The stage is set. The story will write itself. Imagine a theatre that opens only in the dark. Its seats are empty, its stage unlit, until suddenly the curtain lifts and your mind becomes the playwright, the cast, and the audience all at once. This is your dreaming brain. This is the mind's midnight theatre. Each night, this theatre awakens during REM sleep, the rapid eye movement phase known for its vivid dreaming. Your brain paradoxically becomes as active as when you're awake, but the activity is directed inward. The muscles of your body are temporarily paralyzed by the brainstem, a protective measure called REM atonia, which keeps you from physically acting out your dreams. But inside your mind, the stage is alive. Neuroimaging studies show a surge of activity in the limbic system during REM. This includes the amygdala, which governs emotion, and the anterior cingulate cortex, involved in attention and conflict resolution. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and self-awareness, is relatively quiet. This imbalance is what gives dreams their emotionally rich but often illogical character. Dreams take many forms. Some are narratives unfolding like short films, others are fragments, impressions, sensations. Some involve flight, falling, chasing. Others offer comfort, reunions, intimacy, unexpected peace. The content of dreams is shaped by culture, personality, and even recent events, but the function remains strikingly consistent. One major role of REM dreaming is emotional regulation. Think of it as overnight therapy. During REM, the brain replays emotionally charged memories, but does so in a neurochemical environment where stress-related chemicals like norepinephrine are suppressed. This allows you to revisit difficult experiences without being overwhelmed. You reprocess the emotion not to forget it, but to soften it. It's a kind of mental alchemy, turning raw experience into understanding. Another role is creativity. Dreams connect distant ideas, allowing novel combinations to emerge. Paul McCartney once dreamed the melody to Yesterday. Mary Shelley conceived of Frankenstein in a dream. Einstein credited imagery from dreams as inspiration for his thought experiments. In dreams, your brain explores without limits. In this theatre, even your sense of self can shift. You may dream as yourself or as someone else. You may observe the story or live it firsthand. You may switch roles or even become a place or object. Dreams dissolve the usual boundaries of identity, offering you a mirror made of mist. Dreams can also offer insight. They may highlight unacknowledged feelings or internal conflicts. Carl Jung viewed dreams as messages from the unconscious, reflecting parts of the self we don't fully see in waking life. While not every dream holds symbolic meaning, paying attention to recurring themes can be revealing. The theatre is not always gentle. Nightmares are part of the dreaming experience, especially during stress or trauma. But even nightmares serve a purpose. They may help you confront fears in symbolic form or rehearse responses to danger. The brain treats them seriously, not to scare you, but to strengthen you. Some dreams bring comfort. They reconnect you with loved ones who are gone. They offer peace when waking life feels unsteady. These dreams may not be real in a physical sense, but emotionally, they often carry real healing. And so, night after night, the curtain rises, the mind's theatre performs, not for applause, but for integration, making sense of a life that's always changing. You don't control the script. You don't need to. The dreaming mind knows what you need to see. As you lie quietly now, you can feel it beginning again. The lights dim, the story stirs, and the theatre opens its doors. Emotions do not sleep. They travel with you into the night, sometimes softened, sometimes sharpened, but always present. Sleep is not a shutdown. It is a processing centre, and one of its most vital roles is helping you deal with emotion. During waking life, emotions can flood the system. They can come on fast, a wave of anger, a surge of joy, a twist of anxiety. Your brain handles them as best it can, using logic, habits, distractions, but not everything gets resolved. Some emotions get stored for later, and that's where sleep comes in. As you sleep, your brain begins the quiet work of emotional memory consolidation. It replays feelings, not always the events themselves, but the emotional signatures left behind. A hurtful comment, a surprising kindness, an unresolved fear. These don't vanish in the night, they resurface, often in dreams where the brain tries to make sense of them. This happens especially during REM. The amygdala, which lights up during intense emotions, is highly active, but the stress hormones that accompany emotion in waking life are reduced. This gives the brain a unique environment in which to revisit difficult feelings without being overwhelmed by them. It's a bit like rewatching a storm from inside a calm, safe place. The storm is still powerful, but you're observing now, not reacting. This is the emotional processing hypothesis of dreaming. The idea that REM sleep helps you emotionally adapt to life's challenges by simulating, recontextualizing, and metabolizing feeling. You may have noticed that after a good night's sleep, a problem seems less daunting, or a disappointment feels less raw, or a joy feels more real. This is not just rest. This is emotional integration. Sleep also strengthens emotional regulation. When you're well rested, your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for emotional control, is more responsive. You're more resilient. You can manage frustration, anxiety, and sadness with greater balance. But when you're sleep deprived, the opposite happens. The amygdala becomes hyperreactive. Small problems feel big. Emotional control becomes harder. Long-term sleep loss is associated with increased risk of depression and anxiety, but even one night of good sleep can improve emotional tone. Your brain is always trying to restore equilibrium, and sleep is its favorite tool. Some emotional processing is conscious. You may reflect on your day before bed, journal, talk things through, but much of it is unconscious. It happens while you sleep, in a language the waking mind may not fully understand. This is why being kind to yourself during the day, allowing rest, expressing feelings, taking breaks, supports sleep, and why sleep in turn supports emotional well-being. It is a cycle, the conversation between light and dark, between thinking and feeling. So as you drift now into the quiet, know that your feelings are not being ignored. They are being heard, held, gently examined. Your brain is tending to them like a gardener tending to the soil. Not rushing, not judging, just patiently making space for growth. In the dark, healing begins, and by morning, you may find yourself lighter, calmer, a little more whole. Sleep is more than stillness. It is repair. It is restoration. When your body settles, your cells awaken with purpose. Muscles that carried tension and strain begin to rebuild. Tiny tears and tissue caused by daily motion are stitched back together. It's quiet work, invisible, effortless, but essential. And it happens every night while you lie peacefully beneath your covers, unaware of the miracles unfolding within. This healing is not just physical. It's orchestrated by a deeply intelligent system, one that senses damage, dispatches resources, and governs renewal in harmony with your rest. Much of this is triggered by slow-wave sleep, also known as deep sleep. It's the stage of sleep when the body is least responsive to the world outside and most focused on the world within. During deep sleep, your brain pulses with long, slow electrical waves. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, and your parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for relaxation and digestion, takes over. Blood flow is redirected away from the brain toward the muscles and organs that need repair. Growth hormone released in pulses encourages regeneration of tissues, bone and muscle. It's not a myth. Your body truly does heal while you sleep. This is also when your bones quietly renew themselves. Tiny cells called osteoblasts go to work laying down fresh bone material. Cartilage is maintained. Skin cells divide and regenerate. Even your eyes benefit from sleep. The corneas hydrate, and retinal cells restore their chemical balance. All this happens without your conscious awareness, guided by systems that have evolved over millennia to protect and preserve you. Sleep also plays a role in detoxification. Your brain, surprisingly, has a cleaning system, the glymphatic system. It becomes especially active during deep sleep. While you rest, cerebrospinal fluid pulses through your brain tissue, washing away waste proteins like beta amyloid, the same protein that accumulates in neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's. The brain shrinks slightly during this phase, allowing more space for this cleansing flow. It's as if your mind is rinsed in the dark, preparing it to think clearly again at dawn. Even your DNA gets attention. During the day, stresses like UV radiation, pollution and inflammation can damage the very code that builds your body. At night, repair enzymes are more active. These microscopic mechanics roam your cells, finding broken strands and stitching them back together. It's microscopic care, patient, precise and persistent. You might imagine healing as something dramatic, a cast on a broken limb, a bandage on a wound, but most healing is subtle. It doesn't shout. It doesn't ask for attention. It occurs in every breath, every heartbeat, every cell, and nowhere is this truer than in sleep. Your metabolism also resets. Glucose regulation improves. Insulin sensitivity is restored. After just one good night's sleep, your body is better at balancing blood sugar and managing appetite. Sleep deprivation, on the other hand, can make the body behave as if it's under metabolic distress. Cravings rise, hormones shift, and fat storage increases. But with rest, balance returns. Healing during sleep also influences how you feel. Pain is lessened, inflammation is reduced, cytokines, proteins that promote immune responses, are regulated more gently. Chronic pain conditions are often worsened by poor sleep, not just because of sensitivity, but because the body's natural repair systems are interrupted. Even the heart finds refuge in sleep. Your blood pressure drops, the heart beats more slowly, conserving energy, reducing strain. If you sleep well consistently, your cardiovascular system responds with gratitude, lower risk of hypertension, stroke, and heart disease. None of this healing requires conscious control. You don't need to give your body instructions. It remembers, it knows. Sleep is the signal. It says, it's time now, begin again. As you lie still, your cells move. As your mind dreams, your body mends. And in this rhythm of softness and restoration, you find not only rest but renewal. Your immune system never sleeps, but it listens, and it listens most closely when you do. Each night, as your body drops into the quiet rhythms of sleep, a subtle conversation begins. Immune cells, like tiny sentinels, circulate through your bloodstream, checking for threats, repairing damage, updating their internal maps. They are not aimless, they are communicating, and sleep gives them the silence they need to speak clearly. The immune system is made up of many kinds of cells. White blood cells like lymphocytes, macrophages, and natural killer cells. Each has a role. Some identify pathogens, some remember past invaders, others coordinate defense or call for backup. This is not chaos, it's choreography, and sleep is the conductor. During slow-wave sleep, the deepest and most restorative phase, your body's anti-inflammatory processes become active. The production of cytokines signaling proteins increases, especially those that help combat infection or regulate inflammation. These cytokines support immune memory, helping your body remember what it has fought before and respond more effectively the next time. This is why vaccines are more effective when followed by restful sleep. The body retains the immune lesson better. Sleep strengthens not just the physical response, but the information flow, turning a cellular skirmish into lasting immunity. Natural killer cells, which target virus-infected or cancerous cells, also flourish with sleep. Studies show that just one night of poor sleep can significantly reduce their activity, weakening one of your body's first lines of defense. But when you rest, their strength returns. They patrol the body quietly, efficiently, scanning for trouble. Your immune system also uses sleep to perform housekeeping. It clears out dying cells. It identifies subtle imbalances. It calibrates its sensitivity. This prevents overreaction, the kind that leads to autoimmune conditions where the body mistakenly attacks itself. Sleep tempers the immune response, giving it the nuance it needs to protect without harm. Hormones also support this conversation. Melatonin, beyond its role in sleep regulation, is an antioxidant and immune modulator. It enhances the communication between immune cells and helps limit unnecessary inflammation. Cortisol, the stress hormone, naturally drops during early sleep, allowing immune function to rise. Then, near morning, cortisol rises gently again, helping wake the body and reset immune rhythms. When sleep is consistently short or poor in quality, these rhythms are disrupted. Inflammation may increase, response times slow, the immune system becomes confused, either underreacting to real threats or overreacting to minor ones. This can lead to more frequent illness, slower recovery, and long-term wear on the body. But the beauty of sleep is that it doesn't require perfection. Even small improvements, an extra hour, a more consistent schedule, a darker room, can help restore immune balance. Your body is responsive. It adapts. It remembers what health feels like. And so, each night, your immune system leans in. It listens to your breathing. It watches your stillness. It uses the silence to speak its own language, one of balance, vigilance, and care. Sleep doesn't just protect you from illness. It teaches your body how to be well. Inside you, a chorus sings, and its music is hormonal. These chemical messengers rise and fall not with chance, but with rhythm. And no rhythm is more powerful than the one that unfolds in the dark. Sleep and hormones are deeply entwined. They shape each other. Sleep regulates when hormones are released, and hormones help orchestrate when and how well you sleep. At night, in the absence of light, this relationship becomes most clear. Melatonin begins the song. As light fades, the pineal gland releases this quiet hormone, often called the hormone of darkness. It does not knock you out. It nudges you gently. It signals your body that sleep is near. Melatonin also acts as an antioxidant. protecting cells from oxidative stress. Its production is sensitive. Even a small light at night can disrupt its rhythm. As melatonin rises, cortisol, your daytime energy hormone, falls. Cortisol is not bad. It wakes you up in the morning, keeps you alert, and helps regulate metabolism. But at night, high cortisol can interfere with sleep. When the world grows quiet and you allow stress to slip away, cortisol drops. Sleep can then deepen. During deep sleep, growth hormone is released in pulses. It supports tissue repair, muscle growth, fat metabolism, and even mental clarity. It's a major player in overnight recovery, not just in children, but throughout adult life. The more deep sleep you get, the more of this hormone you receive. Other hormones follow the rhythm. Prolactin rises, supporting immune function and cellular repair. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, increases during sleep, while ghrelin, which signals hunger, drops. This explains why sleep loss often leads to increased appetite and cravings. Your hunger hormones become confused. Reproductive hormones are also affected. For women, sleep influences levels of estrogen and progesterone, both of which impact sleep quality. For men, testosterone is largely released during the first cycle of REM sleep. Disrupted sleep can therefore impact fertility, libido, and overall hormonal health. Then there's insulin, the hormone that helps cells absorb glucose. Sleep deprivation leads to insulin resistance, where the body becomes less sensitive to insulin's message. This is one reason why poor sleep is linked with increased risk of type 2 diabetes. But again, even a single good night's sleep can begin to restore sensitivity. All of this happens without instruction. Your body keeps time through the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny region in your brain that reads signals from the eyes and sends timing cues throughout the body. It aligns your hormones with the cycle of light and dark if you let it. That's why sleeping at night, avoiding bright screens before bed, and keeping a regular schedule helps so much. You're not forcing your body to do something unnatural. You're returning it to the rhythm it already knows. In the dark, your hormones hum, not loudly, but with purpose. They whisper balance into your bloodstream. They tell your heart to slow, your cells to repair, your mind to let go. You do not need to manage this concert. You only need to rest. You've wandered gently through the landscapes of sleep, through chemistry and breath, light and dark, dreams and memories. You've seen how the body settles, how the brain transforms, how the entire inner cosmos reorients itself each night, not through effort, but through surrender. And now the journey folds inward. There is no need to gather anything. You already hold it all. Every chapter has left a trace, soft knowledge resting beneath your skin. The way your temperature falls, the rhythm of your breath, the song of melatonin and the hush of cortisol, the immune cells patrolling, the heart slowing, the mind dreaming. You carry a new respect now, not just for sleep, but for yourself, for the way your body remembers what to do, for the wisdom it holds silently beneath all your waking thoughts, for the quiet power of softness, of stillness, of letting go. Sleep is not a disappearance, it's a return. You return to rhythms that have guided humans since long before cities, clocks, or screens. You return to a deeper intelligence, one that speaks in waves and whispers. You return to yourself in the most essential way, unguarded, unburdened, whole. As this final lullaby begins to play in your mind, there is nothing to fix, no questions left to chase. You do not need to solve the mysteries of the universe to rest within them. It is enough to feel their presence unfolding, wrapping gently around you like a soft tide. Let go now of time. Let go of the edges of thought. Let yourself drift down like a leaf on a quiet lake, carried not by control but by current. There is no right way to sleep. There is only the allowing, the receiving, the listening. Your breath is the boat. Your heartbeat is the oar. Your stillness is the open water. And somewhere below thought, below language, your cells remember. The song of sleep plays in them. They respond not with words, but with ease, with release. You've travelled through the brain's theatre, through the immune system's vigil, through the hormonal symphony and the cleansing of the mind, through emotions softened and memories shaped, through the world of dreams and into something more spacious. A kind of quiet that asks nothing of you, and yet gives you everything. And as you rest here, At the end of the story, know that the story doesn't end. It continues each night, each time you close your eyes, each time you allow sleep to find you, as it always does. Not with a jolt, but with a lull. So tonight, let your final thought be this: you are safe, you are whole, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Sleep is not the opposite of life. It is part of it, the most peaceful part. Let go now, and drift. Good night. While the body rests in darkness, the mind lights up, and not with dreams alone. Deep in your brain, a quiet archive comes to life. Memories, scattered like stardust across your waking hours, are gathered gently and brought into order. It begins with consolidation, the process of turning experiences into lasting memories. Everything you did today, the names you learned, the feelings you felt, the moments that moved you, has left an impression. But those impressions are fragile at first, fleeting. They exist in a temporary space, held loosely in the hippocampus, the brain's short-term memory center. And it is during sleep that they are carefully reviewed, sorted and moved to more permanent homes. This isn't random, it's structured. As you drift through sleep stages, especially deep slow-wave sleep and later REM sleep, your brain replays the day's neural activity. But instead of repeating every detail, it sifts. It keeps what matters, the important facts, the emotional weight, the pattern behind the chaos. It lets go of the rest. In this way, sleep is not just a soft ending to each day, it is the mind's way of choosing what stays. You may not recall this process, but it is why, after a good night's sleep, things often make more sense. Problems feel clearer, new skills feel more natural. You remember names, facts, even ideas that were fuzzy the night before. That's not magic, that's consolidation. Sleep is thinking without the noise. Memory is not just for facts though, it's for feelings. During sleep, especially in REM, the brain reprocesses emotional experiences. It decouples the emotion from the memory, not erasing it but softening its edge. That embarrassing moment, that stressful conversation, sleep takes the sting out of it, leaving the lesson without the pain. This is part of why emotional regulation improves with rest. Sleep-deprived brains are more reactive, more sensitive to negative emotion. But after a night of good sleep, you are steadier, more resilient. Your brain has done the emotional housekeeping that makes space for peace. Dreams, too, may play a role. Though we don't fully understand them, we know they are not random. They draw from fragments of memory, real and imagined, and reassemble them into new scenes. These aren't distractions, they may be the brain's way of rehearsing, problem-solving, or making meaning. A quiet therapy session in the dark, guided by neurons and symbolism. In this way, dreams may be memory's echo, reshaped by emotion and time. They help you connect ideas, reframe pain, imagine different outcomes. You may wake from a dream feeling puzzled, but often there is a feeling beneath it, a sense that something inside has shifted or settled. The process is ongoing. Memories from long ago are strengthened or weakened depending on how often they are replayed, in thought or in dreams. This is called memory reconsolidation, and sleep is its gateway. It's not just about storing information, it's about refining who you are. Even creativity blooms here. Some of the most profound artistic, scientific and personal breakthroughs have come in dreams or just upon waking. That's because the sleeping brain isn't limited by the same logic filters. It explores more freely. It links ideas in unexpected ways. You wake not just refreshed, but inspired. Children especially rely on this process. Their brains are learning constantly, absorbing language, movement, relationships. Sleep helps them organize all of it. It is no coincidence that children sleep more deeply and for longer stretches than adults. They are building the architecture of identity. But you too need this scaffolding. Learning doesn't stop. Emotional experiences continue, and sleep, especially when honored regularly, helps you carry them with grace. In a way, every night is a soft rehearsal for tomorrow. You lay down what you've gathered, and sleep helps you sort through it, discarding what you no longer need, polishing what you do. You emerge lighter, clearer, more whole. And as you lie here tonight, the quiet is not empty. It is filled with neural murmurs, with memories passing softly from hand to hand in your brain's darkened halls. You are not just resting, you are being reassembled, refined, remembered. So let yourself drift. Let today settle where it belongs. Let memory fold itself into you, like moonlight through a curtain. Gentle, unassuming, but impossibly bright once you open your eyes again.